All right, good evening, everybody. If I could get a sound check here, please. 1, 2, sound check, 1, 2. You guys hear me all right? Sound check? All right, perfect. Give it about a minute or so here. See if we get anybody else that comes in here. Because the minute I start, I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of other people. I'll have to go back and go over everything again. So, how are you doing, CC? All right, gonna give it about another 30 seconds or so. Doing pretty good. I just put together a new chair for my office, so a little bit more comfortable than that other one that I had, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just I'll go ahead and start delving in here, and then if anybody has questions later, we'll just go back over it. But so basically, Bitcoin, we've been talking about this area up in here where there's a lot of congestion, right? A lot of people selling back in here. Even when you get a bounce, there's somebody always selling. So we're getting this selling pressure right here. And not a big surprise, really. I mean, I would have rather it come up here before going down. But hey, Bitcoin doesn't listen to me. So basically what I've been focusing on is, and I don't know if you guys saw my post in the channel, it's symmetry, the symmetry moves, right? So each time Bitcoin retraces, we want to go back and look at prior retracements and see if that's an area where Bitcoin might bounce or might not. And so I had a couple of different ones that I did, right? Here's the most recent one, this blue line. Basically, all I did was take, I went over to my tools, right? Went over to Fibonacci tools, and then I went to trend-based fib extension. And basically what that does is it's a one-to-one measurement. So you click on an area from a high to a low, then you go over to the next area to see, and then you click on it a third time, and that'll give you a blue line as to where that retracement or one-to-one extension is. So you'll see what I did right here. I'm just going to highlight on it, the blue line, and then you'll see right over in here, I took it from this high to this low and came up to the high, and lo and behold, this is where I get the blue line at, right? So Is this move down equal to the one we had back here in mid-January, basically? That's the question. You could also draw similar ones, although they're not going to be spot on, but they're roughly close. But from here to here, and then go up and do it. But what's also more interesting is where it bounced off of today, right? So if I zoom in a little bit, and I'll try not to go too fast, but this is where you have to use a combo of things. Okay, we've got our symmetry move extension right here. And then we take a retracement from this low to this high, and that gives us the 1272 retracement, which is where it bounced off of today. So, now what are we looking for? Right? Well, assuming, right, and I hate assuming, but, the 10 still has not crossed the 20. And if you look at this entire move from when it crossed right here, the 10 has been holding this up, except for here. On that retracement, it just pulled back below it again, right? So what we're wanting to see is it hold roughly on a closing basis this 20 EMA. And if it can do that, then that will get the move going to the high side again, right? And probably take out these highs, and then we'll hit another spot up here or the downtrend line right there. So I'm not going to panic, right, on Bitcoin. I mean, to me, it just looks similar to what we've had in the past, right? We had a big run up here, retrace, run up, retrace, run up, retrace, run up, retrace, and we've just run up again. Here's our retrace. This shouldn't have come as a shock to anybody. I mean, I know it looked scary, probably felt scary if you were in it, but to me, until we break down below this area right in here, which is trying to hold up as new support, right? It was resistance for a while. It's trying to hold up as new support. If it can hold this area, or let's call it 9,500 to 9,600, if it can hold that as new support, we can build a base off that and move higher. If not, we're looking for a deeper retracement all the way back here around, I would even call it probably 9,000. We're going to go back and test maybe the 50 EMA, 233 and 200, somewhere in that area. So we could get a bigger retrace if this area breaks down. So, and if that happens, we're more than likely going to see the 10 cross the 20, which, I really don't want to see happen. I just want to see things stay intact. But I also want some stuff to catch up here. I want the 50 EMA to catch up with everything else and give it a nice push higher. So anyway, any questions about Bitcoin? Handy. BART back up to 92.22 and then lower. Possible. I mean, if you're going to go and look at probably a 4-hour chart, I guess is what you're looking at. But again, to me, all we're doing on a 4-hour chart is coming back and testing the 200 and the 233. That's all we're doing. A breakdown below this level would get some stuff going to the downside. But right now, we've got a bullish divergence on the stochastic RSI. See this? Indicator made a low right here, price up here. Indicator made a higher low, price is lower. That's a bullish divergence. So just keep that in mind before you get going hog wild on shorts. So, I mean, it could play out, but I would just be very, very careful right in this area if you're shorty. That's my opinion. Okay, any questions about Bitcoin? Hi, Fabio. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. All right. Any questions? Any questions about that? Loan exchange may have lost millions and affected the price. Fabio, there's any number of reasons Bitcoin does what it does. Chart wise, I don't see it. In the charts at least, I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. I mean, we could have said something back here too. I mean, it's in a bullish trend, guys. Okay, it's in a bullish trend, and until it breaks down below this and we start getting back down below supports, it's a hard one to call. I mean, I could be totally wrong in my bias and what I'm thinking, but I think Bitcoin wants up here before we get a deeper retracement. And I think I pointed that out in the tweet I posted on the weekly chart, and so I was a little, early, right? Here, I'll go to a weekly chart since it's now closed. Okay. Well, what's changed on the weekly chart? Zip. Absolutely nothing, right? We hit upper Bollinger Band. We got outside upper Bollinger Band, and we're pulling back in. I've gone over this time and time again. Price does not like to stay outside of that too long, so pull back in a little bit. I was really thinking we might get up to this area, right? Wick a little bit higher outside of it, and then this resistance right over here, maybe even touch the trend line and then pull back, right? But all we're doing now is coming back and possibly testing the 10 EMA, Now, any break below this big green stick right here, and I'll start to, rethink some things. For me, it's probably anything below 9,000. A break of this 10 EMA, which has been kind of holding it up. I mean, I would get, at least short-term bearish, as something else might be going on. But then again, looking at this whole thing, I see it going higher, and I'm still going to stick with my projection. Okay, is that we're coming here, we're coming down, and then somewhere in May or June, probably toward the end of June, I'm just going off this symmetry move right here. If this move and this time that it took to do that holds, then somewhere in June, right? Let's call it toward the end of June. Then we should be hitting around 17,000. After that, I'll have to rethink things and look at it. Who knows what Momo might do, or but whatnot. I see it going higher. And if you really look at this too on a weekly, that's a cup, right? Cupping type pattern, handle, potentially higher. That's just chart pattern stuff, but it's not the best looking one in the world, but that's a rounded bottom right there. And all that move was corrective nonsense. So anyway, that is Bitcoin. Any questions? Well, you never know. I mean, there's any number of things that can affect price in a stock or crypto, and usually it's the insiders that know before anybody else, right? That's stock 101. Somebody always knows ahead of time. Whether it be insider buying or selling in the stock market. Somebody knows something. Hey, Amazon's going to have a great deal with such and such company, and then you go buy such and such company, or they do, and you see price reflected a little bit because word of mouth spreads, and then the rumors start, and then before you know it, price starts to peak, news comes out, and they sell it off. That's just how it works most of the time. Most of the time. But other things, and it points to it, is just everything's chart-based, right? I can't sit here and, I can give you my opinion, right? It doesn't mean it's going to happen. I mean, for all I know, Bitcoin could come out and be at zero tomorrow. We just don't know. I'm just giving my opinions based on previous charting methods and what I think might happen. Doesn't mean it will. Handy, absolutely right. And I've preached about that in my Discord channel. It goes both ways. You can do the same thing if you're short or long. The only thing about being short is that you got to make sure that you're catching, the exact top or close to it. Right? Because then you'll start getting margin calls. Trust me, I've been there. And it was not pretty. This was like, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. It was 18, actually. It was not pretty. So, and I saw somewhere, I'll look at XLM here in just a minute. Fabio, I've been long Bitcoin. I have. I mean, I'll probably add some in this area. I want to see how things go a little bit tonight, maybe even tomorrow. I want to see this area confirm and hold before I just go assume that it will, right? So I want to make sure that this area is going to hold right here, because if it doesn't, I can get a little bit cheaper down here. Now, I'm not trying to be cheap, but if I can get it cheaper, I'll take it cheaper. Now, the thing about it, though, is that, since I've already got some Bitcoin, it's not going to affect me if price starts to run up. I can always, if I see this, and if I wake up tomorrow, and all of a sudden Bitcoin's at 10,000, hey, guess what? I'm still in it. I've still got some. So that's why I say, you can, when you're buying and selling things, and I saw somebody post about it on Twitter the other day, and I can't remember if it was Josh Rager or I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, basically said the same thing I've been preaching about since I started the Discord channel. It's my trading philosophy. When you get into something, always have a set price to where you want to get out. Get your original capital out, right? And then plus a little profit, but make sure to leave yourself a little bit. Obviously, you're not going to have as much as what you did before, but guess what? It protects you from if it goes to zero or if it drops, 20%. If everything goes in your way, then you should be able to get out with, your original capital out plus some profit, let the rest ride, and then basically from then on you're playing with house money. Okay? But you have to keep you have to be disciplined with your stops as well. I've probably, on some things, I've been real conservative, like VET. I was very conservative with that stop, and I probably, when I originally did it, I probably should have been a little bit more, I'm not going to say risky, but I should have been a little bit more liberal with it, a little bit lower, but it is what it is. I'm just trying to protect everybody's money. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Any other questions about Bitcoin before I roll on here? And I know this is the big one everybody wants to talk about because it seems to drive a lot of other things. Okay. So, Fabio, you want to look at XLM. Let's go look at it. Okay, so, much like Bitcoin, this little area right over here, and I'm not trusting this wick right over here it could have happened, I guess, but that's just wild right there. I don't know what happened back there, but this is the area right here that I'm focusing on, and you can see where it stopped at, right? So let's just do a horizontal ray. Darn it, can't get that thing right on there. There we go. All right, so that's where we stopped, right? So now what are we going to do? So now we want to go in and we want to figure out, what's our retraces. One thing I do notice immediately now, bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. There's no other way to put it. I mean, and then you had a confirming candle the day after, right? So that just leads to lower price, right? Which it did, but it dropped all the way to the 233 and held, bounced off that area. So let's go over and take a look at some some Fibonacci retracements and just see if there's anything going on in this area. Let's go from this low up to this high. And then let's just go ahead and throw our numbers in there. And probably a 618. There we go. And then let's take that out. There we go. All right. So what we're going to be looking for on XLM is if things really get going to the downside. I mean, this looks to be a support level, right? The way it's bounced. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of follow through, so to speak, right? If that's really a hammer candle, then this thing should not close below this area, right? That should be the low if that's a hammer candle. It's not a perfect one. I don't even like the red body on it, but I like the way it bounced off of it. Now that could have been just short covering, very possible, but I would say just watch this area. If it breaks this area, then obviously we're coming down to test the 200-day moving average, or 200-day moving average again. And that'll be at close to 6 cents. Okay? The only thing about all this is that your stochastic RSI is starting to work its way into oversold conditions. So, as long as this 10 doesn't cross the 20, things are good. Right? But that is a nasty little pattern right there. So, and I don't know that symmetry-wise, that just doesn't look like it's any kind of symmetry moved here. So let's just, for giggles and grins, just see what it might have been at. Yeah, not even close. So, not even going to throw that on there. All right. Let's see. What else can we take a look at? Anybody want to look at Ethereum? This one has actually been holding up pretty darn well, if you ask me. I mean, look at this. I mean, of most of the charts, yeah, I'm looking at ETH right now. Yeah, ETH. So you had the bearish engulfing confirmed, but then you get a bullish engulfing right back. So this candle is going to be key. And the thing I like about it is that it closed back above the 10 EMA. All it did was wick down below it and did, a 38.2 retracement. All right, 38.2 retracement, and that's where it bounced off of, and close to the 20 EMA. So, let's do some retracements on it. If that's the bottom, let's see if anything else up in here lines up. Let's go fib retracement, and let's draw it from that high down to that low. Okay, and let's get that out of the way so I can see what's going on. All right, so, okay, well, I didn't have to change a thing. All it's done was bounce from the 38.2 up to, guess what, the 61.8. So it's stalling right here at the 61.8. I would want to see it break that. I think if it can break this area, who knows? That might get the rest of the crypto market going, or at least good for alts. Let's put it that way. Okay, so ETH is looking actually relatively strong compared to other ones. Let's go look at Litecoin and see what it's done. Yeah, see this? It doesn't have the follow through that ETH does. Look at this. Right there. That's pretty strong, guys. I don't know. Something may be going on with Ethereum. But that's pretty strong right there. And actually, I did see on Zero Hedge, there was an article, somebody actually posted on Twitter, and I went and checked it out, that said something about JP Morgan and a lot of institutional people we're looking at Ethereum because of the projects that's upcoming. So you guys would know better about the insides of what makes this company do what it does, because I don't. All I do is look at the charts, right? So if there's something project wise, or you're one of those FA type of guys that delves into the company, do some research and let me know what you think. I mean, maybe something else is going on with Ethereum. Okay, so that's Ethereum. Ancient, you want to look at Algo. Now, I will say this, guys. If you do have a chart request, if you would, please throw it in the, if you want a BTC cross or USD cross. That'll help. Let's go to... Oh, there we go. They changed things up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Algo USD and BAT BTC. Okay, so let's go look at Algo first. And this will be the USD pair. So I did this one. Okay, so basically came up and hit the 161.8 retracement. This one here, let me get rid. It's been a bit since I've done this one. Okay, I think I can get rid of this whole thing here. There we go. And let me get that 1, 2, I think I can get rid of that too. Actually, this thing goes way back. Wow, I haven't looked at this since it broke out. Okay, so let me do that, that, and that. Okay, came up and hit this. Let's go over and do a retracement from, let's call it down here to up here. And let's go throw on 61.8. There we go. You do this long enough and you'll know pretty much where these extensions wind up. So basically from this low to the high, pulled all the way back to a 61.8 retracement. I would only throw on this as well. And actually, let's do this as a rectangle. And let's just call it, let's call it this little area right in here. I think that was actually resistance right there. So let's call it right there. Okay, so this area was resistance, pulled back, and then broke through. So this is our area of support, which it's trying to hold. So if you're wanting to play this one, this area should be your support. If it breaks this, and right here you've also got the 50 EMA, then it's coming all the way back down to here, 25 cents, and then more than likely coming back and retesting, 22 or 23. But right now, looks like it's just a pullback, and then can it hold? And if it does, similar to the other one that we looked at, where you get these long wicks at the bottom, that is strong support, guys. Right there, that's really strong support in this area. So if you start to see it break back above, let's call it 35 cents. If you see it break back above that, then that would be a very bullish sign, because you'll get back above the 10 EMA and just get everything working back to the upside. All right, so that's Algo. Let's actually do this. Let's throw a retracement from the top down here to the bottom and see what lines up. And let's get 50, 38.2, and 23.6. Oh, actually it already broke the 23.6. Okay. All right. So this is going to be your area to get past, right in here where that 38.2 is. and the tops of these two candles right here. So let's just call it 35 to be on the safe side. Okay. So that's algo. Let's go over to bat. And very similar, right? We're starting to see a lot of this. Big support down in here. Hit the 1272 retracement up here from that high to this low. That's where the move ended. So let's go and look at where she's trying to bounce at. Possibly a 618 or a 786. Actually, this one's actually a little stronger than the other ones. I guess we could call it the 50% retracement. So it's just basically retraced half of this move and is holding the 50 EMA, right? So again, you want to get back above that 10 EMA, and if we zoom in, that's what you want to see. And right now, all it's done is come back and retested the 10 EMA and then dropped, but now it's trying to come back and test it again. So stochastic RSI down here in the oversold condition. If this is still in a bull trend, then look what happens when your stochastic RSI gets down to the bottom like it did here. You get a nice move off of it, little retrace, and then a bigger move. So let's see if we've got something like that in the works on BAT. SC, Luca. Let me take a look at SC. I haven't looked at that one in quite a while. Let's go. There it is. Yeah, I did a chart on this one a while back. Let me see where some of these came from on these. Yeah, so I drew it from there to there. Okay, let me get that out of there. Let's just redo this thing. Draw it from... Yeah, that didn't need to be there. So it's been a while since I've done this one. Okay. So let's go do a retracement from that high to this low. So it was a 1272. There we go. And let's take out the 50, 78.6, and 618. All right, so that's where we stopped at on this move. Let's go and see what's happening on any kind of retrace here. And let's go. That actually went below the 38.2. There we go. 50% retracement. Okay. There we go. All right. So again, it just basically retraced half of what it gained. And you've got the, I mean, I like the way the EMAs are looking. I mean, you got the 10, the 20, 50 all hooking up. 200 and 233 are, down here. You would want to see maybe, gosh, I don't know. I mean, it looks pretty good. It's closing above the 10 EMA. As long as you don't come down here and make some lower lows. I mean, that would have been a nice one to get into the other day on that bounce right there. So it doesn't look half bad. Made a high here, higher high here. So, doesn't look too half bad, really. I mean, I would just, if you got profits, don't be afraid to take them. We've seen the moves and what can happen. So don't be afraid on taking any profits. Okay, so that's SC. Let's go look at XTZ. Yeah. I mean, this thing probably scared the crap out of everybody the other day, dropping from, what was it, 360 all the way down to, almost $1 that it dropped. But bounced hard off this area. And again, looks like similar to some other charts, long wicks out the bottom. Okay. They're watching Okay. Skynet? Okay. Well, just be careful. Just because they're coming out with news, that everybody else and their dog knows about it, right? So, just remember that, because news comes out, people tend to sell the news. So, just a heads up. So XTZ still closing above the 10 EMA, wicked below it, holding it. Big support down in here at this 270 level. Huge support. If it drops below that, then, man, come all the way back down into the, hate to say it, but it come all the way back to maybe even close to $2, 214, 215. But that's big support right there. So it's going to have people are wanting to, there's a lot of people that love this thing. I mean, it just seems to have that Momo, much like Link. Now, Link, I mean, look at this. This thing the other day didn't give a doggone about what Bitcoin was doing. It's just kind of holding its own right here, which makes me nervous in one way and, I don't know, excited in another. But let me get that out of there. I thought that might have been a symmetry move, but yeah, I mean, it's this little area down in here. Let's just see what we got. Let's draw it from down here, most recent one. Oh, there we go. And I'm wondering if that's a 38.2. Yep. Okay, so a 38.2 retracement's where it held. If it holds that, possibly a move over $5. If this area fails, you're coming down to 361 and then eventually 332. So, Link's still looking fairly strong, in my opinion. But then again, just make sure you got stops or you're watching everything that's going on. Because that's still a pretty healthy move, and this thing has not, really retraced not even half of it. So, hello, Crypto Evo. Can I cover identifying a good stop loss placement for trading off higher time frame charts? Yeah, so I think it basically all goes back to, your Fibonacci, right? So let's go back to Bitcoin, right? Let's just go take a look at it. And this is all going to depend on where you got in. Oop, I do not want to do an update. Thank you very much. This is all going to depend on where you got into, right? And what your expectations are. Okay? When I go and put like a call, a call out, I'm doing it based on, looking at where potential bottom is, or if it's retracing, where that area might hold at, right? And then from there, I'm going to draw Fibonacci numbers, retracement levels, and one area to take profit is a 38.2 retracement, or just shy of it. The next is going to be a 61.8. The next is going to be a 78.6. And if you want to go after that, then you go to the 1272. But it just depends on you. What are you expecting percentage wise? I think anything with a 10% gain, you ought to be taking profits. And then leaving some, get your original capital out, so to speak, right? Get your original capital out. So back here on Bitcoin, when we was looking at this way back when, we knew that this was an inverted head and shoulders pattern. The neckline was right there. Once it breaks above, you could technically get in, right? With the thought process that eventually it's going to come back and retest that neckline. That's a typical move, on an inverted head and shoulders or a regular head and shoulders. And then, you could either pop in immediately because you get a little pop, but you got to know that it's going to come back and retest that, or you could have waited until you get right here around the 10, the 20 EMAs. Put your order in, and then all of a sudden you're having to be patient, right? I think too many times people get impatient, right? And they let, I'm sure, let's go look at it. Back here, when it broke the neckline, right? Nice move. People popped in. They could have got in, and basically that was probably a good 5 to 10% move right there, maybe even more. If I'm looking at, not 10%, my bad. Yeah, it was probably a 5% move, something like that. Maybe even close to 10 on the wick. But you have to define what your, where your exit points are, and people get too impatient, and when they see, something dropping, it just makes their heart pitter patter, and they're like, uh-oh, this is the end of the move, and we're going down to make lower lows. And I'm sure everybody was screaming about it right back in here that, oh, that's it, that's the end of the move, and we're going to go make lower lows, right? But it didn't, and the key was recognizing the chart pattern and having the patience, because it's not going to happen in 10 minutes. It's not going to happen in one day. I know high time frame you're looking at. You've got to have the patience, and most people just don't have it. So if you do have patience, then, good for you, man. That's a lot of people don't. So anyway, hopefully that answered most of your question. If not, I just stop loss placement. It's like this pattern. We knew where the neckline was. So if you're in it, place your stop loss below it. Because if it breaks down below it, then you've got something else going on. It's the failed pattern. And patterns do fail. Much as, your Fibonacci retracements. If you're wanting to, let's look at Bitcoin right now, today. Okay? And let's just say, you know what? I'm really wanting to get in right now because I think it's going to go higher. And we think that this symmetry move probably held. 1272 is right here where it bounced off of. If I'm getting in right here at 96.93, how much am I willing to lose? Right? 10% of that move is what? 960 points? Do you want to lose 10% of your money, or do you want to lose 5% of your money, which is 400 points? Well, 400 points puts you down below the 1272 and even below the 78.6. So if you're willing to risk 5% on a longer term chart, then you're buying here. Okay? Hopefully that helps. I don't think anybody should ever lose more than 5% on a trade. Now you will get some of these smaller ones, and those are more difficult because you have to catch them almost spot on. You get something that's at 300 sats. Well, 5% down is going to be let's call it 15 sats, or if you even go lower than that, 200 or 100. It just depends on how much you're willing to lose. I don't recommend any more than 5 to 7%, because we're looking to gain 10% or more. That's what we're looking to gain on most moves. Any other questions about that? Hopefully that answered your question. All right. So, all right. So I'll go over that. Good question, actually, Fabio. And I want to point this out too. And we're going to go into indicators real quick. Yeah, Todd, I'll do Neo here in just a second. I'm going to finish my thought process real quick on indicators. All right, so let's go and look. Back when Bitcoin bottomed, okay? And actually, let's go back a little bit further. When Bitcoin's in this downtrend, right? And you see things get overbought, right? Overbought, and you see where price is. Overbought, boom, down. You can get a move up like this and see how weak that is on the indicator. If this was really strong, you would have seen like this skyrocket up. But instead it's weak, right? And you get another drop. And the same thing happens over here. Pop, drop. When this thing started to turn, okay, back in here, now we're getting a more, even flow to this. Oversold, retrace a little bit. Oversold, coming up, and then things start to turn right in here. And that's when you're starting to see when it does get down here, then you get the bigger pop. And then your indicator doesn't go as low, right? So here it dipped, popped, right here, tried to, but that is a bearish divergence. And those are the things you have to watch for. Divergences. Okay, I'll go back on a 4-hour chart, which we talked about just a little bit ago. Oh, hang on one second. I got to let the cat in. All right, sorry about that. So anyway, let's go back and look at this and what divergences are. So I'm going to... All right, so when you see right here, okay, you see a price and you look at the indicator, okay? All right. We had price here. See where the indicator bottomed right there, and you got price right here. The indicator bottomed right here, but we've got lower price. That's a bullish divergence. When you get lower price and a higher indicator, that's a bullish divergence. Okay? Potentially means a move higher is coming. Now, the other thing to point out with indicators is, and I know you talked about, or what you're basically wanting to know, things can stay overbought or oversold for periods of time. Okay? That's the other thing to watch for. Just because it's overbought doesn't necessarily mean that it has to drop, right? I can go to, let me pull up my, well, I don't have it up. I was going to show you my futures chart because my dang computer earlier went down. Okay, so anyway, things can stay overbought. Let's go look at a weekly chart. Okay, and then look back in here. See this? just because it's in overbought condition, or oversold for that matter. See, this thing was oversold, stayed in oversold conditions from, well, let's just call it January of 2018 until April. So for 4 months, Bitcoin stayed oversold. Now, we go over here, and when we start to bottom out, guess what? Bitcoin stays overbought from March until July. So another 4 months. So this thing can stay overbought or oversold on especially higher time frame charts, right? It can just stay that way. So that's one thing to keep in mind, okay? Just watch that. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Friesen. How are you doing? Good to see you. All right. Todd wanted to see NEO. Let's go look at NEO. That's interesting. Okay, so basically, NEO, we had drawn this a while back, basically came short of this fib cluster right here, resistance. Okay? And all it's done is pull right back to old resistance, which is now new support. So it's holding this zone, right? That's the area to stay above. That's your area to watch. Okay? And it bounced nicely off that today. Very nice bounce. And then it's back. Here's the other thing. We looked at this on several other charts. I haven't seen it close below the 10 EMA yet. Right? See it? I mean, it barely probably did right there. Maybe just barely, but it hugged it. And then today, right back above it, and now we're getting a bounce off of it. So if that was a bottom, then let's go and draw our retracements. Uh, 38.2 has been passed. It's past the 50. And actually, yeah, you're 61.8. So anything back above, let's call it 1575, you're still going to have some resistance up here. This right here, I would be, real caught. That's a bearish engulfing candle confirmed right here. And now you're asking the question, is this just a relief bounce? That's the thing we have to watch for on some of these, right? Especially when they've got these candlestick patterns like this. We got to watch that, Got to watch it. This could just be a relief bounce, and then you have a deeper retracement. But for now, we'll stick with it, right? Just watch these things on a closing basis. I mean, I could... if you're tired of looking at wicks, go up here and change from candles to line. And that kind of simplifies things a little bit, right? Bounce off the 10 EMA. Bounce off the 10 EMA. Bounce off the 10 EMA. Bounce. Once it did close above the 10 EMA, boom. So sometimes switching over to a line chart can be very helpful. It takes some of the noise out of what's going on with all these wicks. And there are plenty that do wick, let me tell you. All right, so that is NEO. We didn't check. Did RVN actually... Okay, so let's take a look at this one real quick, because I've been noticing every time it pops, it's a lower price. And let's just do a trend line now on it. Okay. So we'll throw that in there for future reference. 78.6 held it on that bounce move. So it's going to need back above there to be able to get up and test that trend line, and especially this support or resistance over here. So that's what I've got on RVN. ICX, let's go see what's been going on there. Okay, this one has finally come and pulled all the way back in, right? It was way outside Bollinger Bands. This thing just went ballistic. Has now pulled all the way back to the 61.8. Man, I would want to see it. This is one that I would want to see break back above that 10 EMA and maybe close above it, and this thing could actually run a little bit more. But it looks to me like this thing could still go sideways for a while, which would not hurt my feelings. And speaking of Fabio, look at our stochastic RSI. See that? See how it's just been staying oversold for what, the past, what is that? Since February 9th, that's what, over a week? Just stayed oversold. Whereas up here, it stayed overbought. So again, just because something's overbought or oversold doesn't mean price can't go anywhere. So that's a perfect example to look at right there on a daily chart. And it could actually happen on a 4-hour chart or anything like that. I just, higher time frame charts is what I usually look at. So anyway, ICX, just let's keep an eye on this one. I don't want to, I don't want to drop the ball on something that's made this type of move and then all of a sudden you get it pulled back in. Could see a follow through on this one. If not, then maybe down in here's the area to buy, maybe around 2,600 or 2,800. But we know this one can move, so let's watch it. How precise is it? Oh, I don't think any indicator. I mean, other than like when you're looking at divergences and stuff, I don't think there's anything out there that is like 100% golden. If it was, then I certainly wouldn't be. I wouldn't be here. I'd be on a beach. If I had the perfect indicator, or if anybody's got the perfect indicator, show me. I mean, you may have an indicator that's probably 85 or 90% effective, right? But what's going to happen the other 10 or 15% of the time when it's not? You have to get to know your indicator and do it that way. I tend to look at this as, divergent stuff. And if I do see something getting into oversold or overbought conditions, it'll pique my interest a little bit, so to speak. And then I'll start watching and looking for divergences or anything in there I might see that might give me a clue as to other things that I'm watching, with retracements and old support, new resistance lines, chart patterns, etc. Let's see, what else do we got to look at? ZRX. And again, 10 has not crossed the 20, closed above the 20, needs to get back above that 10 EMA. That's going to be the key. Get back and close back above that, and then you might see this thing start to turn, but it's similar to NEO, right? It's got the bearish engulfing candle confirmed right here, and then see what happened with price. It just dropped like a rock today, but then it's trying to bounce. So let's see if it can get, maybe that was the end of that move, but let's see if we can get it, back above that 10 EMA. That's a hammer candle. I would have preferred it be green. And all that means to me is that buyers came in and tried to get this thing into the green, but could not. So that's not always a bullish sign, right? Don't look at something like that and say, oh, that's a automatic hammer candle. I could point to instances on the bullish side where you get an inverse move of this, right? You get the long wick out the upside and a green body, and all it was is it meant that sellers could not push price lower. All this means is buyers could not get it green for the day. So this still has to be watched. I mean, get above 30 cents and that'll change my opinion. I'm getting ready to do EOS here in just a second. Let me pull it up. There it is. Okay, so up here, you know, that's a reversal pattern, obviously. Tweezer top, get that reversal pattern. Now this, is that a, hang on, let me zoom in. That's a red body again. Okay. I really would have liked to have seen that close green. If it could have got inside this on that candle, that would have really been big time bullish. But this could be nothing more than maybe just a relief bounce. So I would want to see it get back above the 20, get above the 10. And especially get above this red stick over here. Okay? So I would say on EOS, preferably I'd like to see it get back above this green line right here, which I had in as support. Had it as like a resistance area, it broke above it, and then it popped right back below it. So I want to see it get back above 475. And if we want to, let's go take a look at some retracements here. And I'll actually do a couple. I could probably do a fib cluster on this one. Let's go from that high to that low. And I think that's that's pretty much where I stopped, 50%. Let's go from here up to here. And we do get something lining up here. Obviously lower. Oops, wait a second. My bad. Clicked on the wrong one. There we go. Take out the 50 and we'll leave the 61.8 on there. Okay. Wait a second. Did I not draw that right? Nope. Let me get that up there where it should be. Right there. There we go. And actually it did break that 61.8, so let's get that out of there. It was close, but so holding the 50, lower Bollinger Band, and a fib cluster right here at 382. Brave browser. I can get tipped with BAT by using Twitter, YouTube. I'll have to look. What's Brave browser? Oh. I got you. Yeah, I think I heard about that. I got about that. Thank you. Crypto Evo. HMAs. Refresh my memory. HMAs. What is HMA? And I'm going to feel stupid for not knowing that, but a whole moving average? Never heard of it. I'll be honest with you. I'd never heard of it. I try to keep things as simple as I can. You know, with my Fibonacci and the fib clusters and just EMAs, support resistance, but I don't know what a whole moving average is. I may have to look into it. All right, So that is EOS Friesen. Weekly view of ZRX. Let me go look. ZRX on a weekly. Okay. So you can see the same thing I'm looking at, right? Hey, Abram. So you've got this area right over here that has been a major, major source of just pain. And we could do this. I actually probably could have done this a long time ago. There we go. You know, probably could have done something like this a while back. I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, this whole zone right here. We'll change that to red. This whole zone right up in here, resistance. You could make an argument, just looking at it at least. I mean, it's not obviously real pretty, but you could make an argument that this is a inverted head and shoulders, so to speak. Now, my only problem with that, here's my only problem with this being a inverted head and shoulders, because if you look at the classic definition of a head and shoulders, okay, if you're starting from where you're, going left to right, you want to see volume decrease, okay? You want the heaviest volume to be, on this shoulder, right? That should be the biggest volume, right? And so you got volume, but it's not on the shoulder. You could say this could be maybe the shoulder, if some people are looking at it that way. But you want your volume to go down, okay? Decrease. So you're going to get your heaviest over here. You're going to get light volume over here on a bottom, okay? And even lighter volume over on this other shoulder. And all I'm seeing is volume trying to increase, which is not a bad thing, right? I mean, increasing volume is what you want after a bottom, but for the pattern on an inverse head and shoulders, you want decreasing volume going into that final shoulder. Bitcoin was classic in that sense. Excuse me. It was absolutely classic. But I don't know, looking at it, basically you had a doji candle right here, which is indecision. Okay? Indecision. Up or down, doesn't know which way it wants to go. But it held the 10 EMA on this drop. And now it's back above the 50 EMA so far. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, eventually, here's my thought is that, you had a low here, lower low, higher low right here. That's pretty bullish, okay? You want to see higher lows, but you also want to see a higher high out of this at some point. Just getting up here and hitting this is not going to do us any good. We want to see price break above this, and then you can get a monster move out of this. So that's my opinion on ZRX. I do like the higher low. I like that. And I like the fact that it's holding the 10 and the 20 EMA on the retrace. But this is a weekly chart, so we have to keep that in mind. And it's not like this thing is just going to leave us behind, right? It's just a matter of we want to see some things break or hold before we get into a rush. Now, we can trade it on a daily, right? I mean, you can always do that. You can trade it on a daily if you get your setups right, you know. And I think there would probably be some clues of that nature, you know, when time comes. Let's look at some other weekly charts. Let's go to XRP. This one does not look half bad, guys. I mean, I don't like the fact that on a daily it came back below this, you know, what was resistance and then broke back below. I like the reaction I'm seeing so far is that it held the 10 and the 20 on this retrace, at least for now. And I like the fact also is that the 10 crossed the 20 right there. Okay? 10 crossed the 20. So if you're in XRP, your area to hold is 25 cents on a closing basis. If you start breaking down below here, then, you know, and especially if you get a close below this, party over. And it probably comes down and makes lower lows. So XRP doesn't look too bad, really. At least on a weekly chart. Okay, Crypto Creek, FET. Let me go look at that real quick. Oh, and look at XRP on the daily, by the way. You know, bearish engulfing confirmed. We're just wanting to see if this is just a relief rally, and then we come back and maybe retest this area again and then go, or is that it? So, okay, FET BTC. Let's go, I think. It sounds familiar, like I've done that one before. Yeah, I did. Okay. Well, I like the fact that it made this nice move. Let's see where support was on that little retrace it had. Right around the 78.6. I don't know if the 60... I think the 61.8 probably broke on that move. Let's look. It's close. We'll just leave it there. Okay, and then what are we going to look at here for the longer term? Since we're looking long term. There was your high in December 8th. And then let's go up and do... I wonder if that's a 38.2 blocking it. I'll bet it is. Nope, it's not. Is it 23.6? No. Okay. So Fibonacci wise, looks like just the, you know, it did break the 23.6, but what stopped it was the 200-day moving average. This one could, in my opinion, this one could take, I could actually see this, if it holds, let's call it 422, or even let's say these lows right here where it you know, bounced off of, hold that, maybe go sideways just a little bit, and if you can pop above here and get past that 200-day moving average, then we're going up to visit that fib retracement at the 38.2, which coincidentally is right there where the 233 is. Not saying that that's going to hit it, but it's just kind of ironic how that works out. So that's at 612, 600 area. So if this thing can just kind of hold together right in here, and make that a higher low, then you could get that move. So that's not a horrible chart. Not just horrible. Has a chance. All right. What else do we got? What have we not looked at here? Biggest small alt gainer today has been HCBTC. Interesting. Let's go take a look. I don't know if I've actually done that one before. I have not. For giggles and grins, let's go up here and look at it. HCBTC. This is Hypercash. Interesting. Okay. Let's go look at it. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, failed to make a higher high up here. And then you get the sell-off. Nice hold of, at least closing basis-wise above the 200-day moving average. Stochastic RSI is down here and oversold. You would want to see it get back above the 233. Right there. And back above the 10 EMA. And see if that can get it going. But that right there is just a nasty candle pattern. You get that green stick, perfect doji, and then total reversal of price. But that could have been the move, right? That could have been it. So, yeah, I would want to see it get back above the 233 and the 10 EMA to get things exciting again. Sorry, guys. I wish I could just tell you, hey, this thing is going to blast off, but I can't do that. Not in my right conscience. I can't do that. I want to see certain things break before I absolutely get crazy like we're going to make new highs stuff again. So, LPT. Okay, let's go take a look at LPT. LPT, there it is. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Well, looks pretty simple to me. There's your area to hold. Right? So is this going to be a double bottom? Boy, stochastic RSI, and see, here's the problem, is that once it looks like things is oversold and it tries to turn, it just gets rejected and can't even get into this area, can't even break above 20. So, I would want to see some more sustained, like get past the 10 EMA, get past the 20, and start to turn these moving averages around. I mean, technically you could play it as a double bottom, but somebody over here got wicked out, right? That's at 12:058. If you're ballsy and you like playing double bottoms, you have to be aware you're always taking a risk on some kind of play like that. I mean, if you catch it at the perfect double bottom and you put your stop loss in around, I don't know, that 5 to 7% area, then you might not be looking too bad right now. But I absolutely freeze, and I would want to see confirmation. That's what I would want to see. So that's my thoughts on it. Just let it kind of, play out a little bit, see if you can get, this thing does take some wild spikes, it looks like, from time to time, but was that a real spike right there? Or was that just some, who knows? I've seen so much crazy crap go on with different exchanges that, just makes you wonder. But I would be very cautious here. I'm not saying that that's not the bottom, but that's just me. I'm a little conservative. I don't like to throw my neck out there and have it chopped off. So, yeah, I mean, God, it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of resistance in this thing, but it makes moves, right? So if you can catch it perfectly, this thing has been known. It can it can pop. So if that's your area and you're comfortable with it, don't let me shy you away from it. You just never know, right? You just never know when some big red stick comes out of somewhere. That's it. But that's what stops are for, right? You got to use your stops. Place them strategically. What else can we look at? What did I miss over here on the old fave page? Matic. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Yeah, nothing's changed. After that big drop right here, pump and dump. Yeah, just... Oh, yeah, Abram, I did that one earlier. Let me go back to it real quick. Was talking about this is that, you had the big run up, right? And then price was way, way outside Bollinger Band, so we knew it had to come back inside, right? So you draw your Fibonacci retracements. And lo and behold, we're getting some support here at the 61.8, which is a big level, right? So trying to bounce off this. If this thing can close above that 10 EMA, that might be your sign that this thing is getting ready to turn and go again. I'm looking at how far these Bollinger Bands are away from each other, and it almost makes me think that maybe this thing could go sideways for a few more days, maybe even a little bit longer, maybe a week. That's what I would prefer. Let the Bollinger Bands get tight like they did back in here. Let them get tight again and sustain price somewhere in between here and your 50 EMA. Preferably not below the 78.6. But I would say if it, for whatever reason, if it was to wick down to here, that's your lower Bollinger Band. I would be a buyer in that area in a heartbeat. In fact, I may place some orders down there just in case it does something crazily stupid and, you get one of those wild wicks out of nowhere and price then just totally reverses and bounces off of it. So, but you could, if you're willing to put a stop loss, that's the problem though. Where do you want to, what's your risk? Define your risk. Then again, this thing out of nowhere one day could just pop. It's done it in the past. But I think there's just a lot of bag holders up here, which is making it tough, right? They're trying to turn this thing, but there's a lot of bag holders up here. So a lot of people are trying to average down. People that got stuck up here, they're like, okay, well, I'll just add more down here. Well, they're not the only ones. And so guess what's going to happen when price hits their break even? They're out. So that's going to be resistance. I need to refresh this page real quick. Things are getting blurry. There we go. All right, so that's ICX. DGB, we haven't gone over that one. What can you say about this resistance zone, right? This resistance zone just being a pain in the royal butt. Did wick above that falling wedge, right? We've had that drawn, right? And if you go back and look at it, it's in this falling wedge pattern. But did make a higher high. So, but here's the problem. The 10, man, I want to see it get above that 10, get the 20 above the 50, and then let's get this thing going, right? There's obvious resistance, but if we can get a sustained move to the upside, that will drag that 20 above the 50, right? And then you can start to see the moving averages start to turn and go. But right now, it's just choppy as all get out. Nice move there. Nice move on this move here. and a higher high. But testing that resistance zone and the 61.8, I mean, it tagged it perfect. So, just keep an eye on DGB. What else do we got? Anything else? ETC, haven't really gone over that one. Oof. Not good. But fun move while it lasted. That's ugly. We'll see. Maybe it can get a pop back up. ETC, we already gone over XRP. Do you guys have any questions? I'm just kind of rambling on, going through some charts. Do y'all have any questions? Any questions? All right, well, I'm going to give it a 5-minute call here, and then I'm going to go eat some dinner. 5-minute call. And I appreciate everybody coming in. Use my 5 minutes here and just thank you guys. Appreciate y'all following me, coming in, wanting to learn. And for following me, giving me likes on YouTube. And if you follow me on Twitter, much appreciated for all you guys. Gonna be a fun year. Already has been, actually, but it's gonna get even better. Gonna get better. You're welcome, Todd. My pleasure, sir. My pleasure. Let's go back and check on Bitcoin, see what she's doing. We'll see if that bullish divergence plays out or not, right? She can get back above that 10 EMA. If we can get it back above 99.20, things might get interesting in Bitcoin land. Got a ways to go, but I wonder if she can just go sideways for a little while. That would be actually kind of nice. Oh, I appreciate it, Friesen. Yeah, I mean, eventually some people will catch on. I mean, but I'm not, then again, though, I mean, people are different. Maybe my trading style or my charts don't fit most people, or maybe they just don't know me. I don't know. But it's not, people look at different charts, right? And if it doesn't suit what they're looking at, then they're going to go somewhere else. And that's fine. I mean, you have to trade what you're comfortable with. I mean, I'm not trying to really force my stuff on everybody. I mean, I'm just trying to teach what I know and what's worked for me. Yeah, I appreciate it, Ancient. Yeah, I mean, everybody else has, and some people think my charts look messy, but to me, when I look at it, I see what's going on. To some other people, they may look at it and go, what in the hell? All the lines on it and all the, Fibonacci stuff. And, unless you understand it, it probably does look intimidating. And I understand. But that's why people need to go to my training videos on YouTube and they'll understand. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I'll be back around on Discord a little later. Want to thank you guys again for coming in. Anybody new to the channel, if you would, down here in the bottom right, if you'll just hit the subscribe button, would much appreciate it if you guys recommended me to some people. Just put the word out. You guys have already done a great job anyway. And if you would, hit the like button. And if you want to see my future videos, just hit that notification bell, and that'll let you know when any of my videos, new ones, pop up. So, in the meantime, you guys have a great evening. Appreciate you coming in, and we'll talk soon. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.